Hey guys, welcome back to Bohs Fan TV, and today we're doing a transfer roundup video. We're just going to be discussing some of the players that have come in the door so far. We've got three in, so busy enough start to the transfer window. Discussing some outs as well. I think a couple of players have left the club, um, and we'll also be sort of talking about some of the rumours that are going around. Not a lot of rumours, but there have been one or two that have been coming out. As of late. But yeah, like I said, we've had a busy start to the window. Um, Three in the door so far. That's good to see. We needed to get going straight away, I suppose, since when the transfer window opened. There was a lot of improvement needed within the squad after the season we just had. Um, and it was also, important to get some leadership in the team, and we started off the window with a great signing for that, and that was Keith Buckley. He was announced sort of quite early on, near the end of the season when there's only I think two or three games left. Obviously, we've touched on that in other videos, but that's a fantastic signing. He was away for a year, obviously in Australia. He's come back now, and he'll be with us next year, and that's exactly what we need. Really, we needed some leadership within the team. We didn't really have it last year, and I think that's probably one of the that's something that contributed to the season being a sort of a failure overall, I suppose. And it's brilliant to see him back. We obviously just as well, I think, touched on Adam McDonald. He was our second signing in the last time we made a video, and that again, I think that's probably just to get bodies into the midfield. Again, I haven't really heard. I've heard kind of mixed stuff from Sligo fans about him. I know he was a player that we tried to sign under Keith Long a couple of times, but yeah, I don't know. I think we've obviously got a lot of options in midfield now. We've got Clark, we've got Flores, we'll go now Adam McDonald as well. Another midfielder who's left the club. We'll talk about him shortly, but yeah, I think that, again that's probably just to replace Connor Livingston, who was obviously left. As well as Mullins, I think he's gone to Brighton, hasn't he? So yeah, I think that again, that's we'll see how he gets on. One signing that I think has been fantastic. I'm sure as many fans would agree. Paddy Kirk has come back. I think there was a lot of rumours about it, sort of near the end of the season, that maybe it was on the cards potentially him coming back, and that's been formally announced now. It was announced there a couple of weeks ago. I think that's a fantastic sign, and he was standing for Sligo last season. Heard good stuff about him. Obviously, he was a player that I felt maybe was, we let, I don't know, we probably just let him go because at the time we had just signed Wilson, and we still had Anton Breslin at the time, and it was probably going to be hard for him to get some game time. I think he went to Longford, and then he was obviously at Sligo, and he was always a solid player, very underrated in my opinion. Always gave a good account of himself on the pitch. Always tried his best, and yeah, I think obviously Wilson's left as well, so we'll touch on that shortly. But I feel like maybe Paddy Kirk is probably maybe not a better all round player than Wilson in terms of defending, and I think I'm not sure if it's an upgrade on Wilson, but it's fantastic to see Paddy Kirk back at the club, and he's been welcomed with open arms. On the outs, Conor Livingston's left the club, like I mentioned there. Um, yeah, I think he was at the club what 4 or 5 years, and I think he was always a player that always tried hard. Scored a good few goals, or not a good few, but a good some good goals along the way, throughout his time at the club. Not sure where he's gone. Nothing's been announced yet. But listen, best of luck to him. He was one of the longer serving players at the club, which is mad because I think he only signed for us in 2019 or something like that. Um, but yeah, I think this season he didn't quite get the minutes, and I think even when he was playing, he didn't really play that well. It was probably time for him to move on. I'm not sure where he'll go now. I still think he's good enough for maybe a lower half club in the Premier Division, maybe First Division. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he goes. And obviously, best of luck to him. Another departure, Tariq Wilson's has left and gone to Shells. Um, yeah, again, I don't know what this is. I'm in two minds about this one. One side of me says I'm not really that bothered, and he wasn't great last season. Let's be honest, but he was still, arguably last year he was probably one of the best left backs in the country, and then this season he just didn't show the same form he had in 2021, which was disappointing. He was always good from a free kick, but again, I think his defending was always a little bit suspect. It would make sense for him to have gone to Shells with his brother there, but again, I think I'm not sure. I've heard he wasn't offered a new deal, which I think probably tells you everything of what Devine thinks of him. I don't think he played a minute under Devine. He was injured in the final 3 games that Devine took. But yeah, again, he just didn't quite cut it this season for me. He was a major disappointment, and can you even say best of luck to him? No, you don't want to really wish players that have kind of gone their way as best of luck. But yeah, I think it's a shame to say that he's kind of taken a bit of a downgrade. Let's be honest. Other kind of outs and maybe rumours. Obviously, Mullins has left to go to Brighton. Fair play to him. He's a fantastic young player. And it's always good to see the younger players um moving. Maybe it's always good to see, but it's always good to see players from who's may have been in Kevin's and all that, and getting big moves to England, and I think he only just turned 17. Is a bit too soon for him, but you could see the talent there. He didn't. I think he didn't quite get the opportunities he deserved. But listen, best luck to him anyway over in Brighton. Rumours, not a lot going on really. Actually, one more out was Ty Ryan announced that he's left the club today. Again, he was. I think when we brought him in from Treaty, he was someone who had done well for them last season in the first division, but he kind of made a push for promotion. And Treaty fans were sad to see him go. We knew he was going to come in to be the number 2 behind Talbot. Obviously, then Talbot gets injured and he kind of comes in for a few games. And I think he did do well in some games. There were some games where he maybe let in goals that he should have saved. But um, listen, best of luck to him. He, he had some good moments and some bad moments, but listen, he's still a good keeper at the end of the day. I think he'll find himself a good club somewhere. Not a lot going on about rumours, to be honest. I still think we're lacking a bit of quality up front. Obviously, we don't know what's happening with Burt. Um, we were told that Rovers were looking at him, a few clubs abroad as well. But we've seen no real official movement on that. Ali Coote as well has been linked with a few clubs around the league, like Shells, Cork, Sligo. I think are the 3 that I've heard from this league that are looking at him. I'm sure there's clubs in Scotland maybe looking at him. I think there were rumours of clubs up north as well potentially. Um, um, Listen, Coote's another player like Wilson, who I think maybe hasn't quite impressed this season as much as he did in 2021. Um, see, I have a list here of, I think it's from extratime.ie. I don't know how accurate it is, but apparently these are the players that are signed for next year anyway. Talbot, O'Sullivan, Twardek, Flores Jr., Doherty, Afalabi, Murphy, Varian, Clark, and McManus, as well as obviously the new signings. But again, I'm not sure how accurate that is. Like, there's a few players on that list that that are notable absentees, like Kieran Kelly. I know there were rumours of him maybe being on trial at Fleetwood. Um, Rory Feely's not on there, obviously. Again, I do think Feely has slightly improved this season. But is he really going to be part of Devine's plans? We're not so sure, I suppose. Obviously, there's still a lot of good players on that list. That will be key to us next year. Not a lot of rumours, as I said. Like I mentioned, there was talk about Sam Todd from UCD today. I think it was in the Independent. Again, I think it was mentioned that it probably won't happen till the summer anyway. But I've heard good things about Sam Todd. I'd be lying to you if I said I've watched UCD a lot this season, but again, UCD have a fantastic sort of history of bringing through young players within this league. And if we were to bring in Sam Todd, now or in the summer, I think it would be a good signing because obviously there's not a lot of players on that list that I just read out that are central defenders. I don't think is there any. I'm not sure. As far as you could count, I don't even know if there is any central defenders that are signed for next year. Like there's no Josh Kerr on that either. Again, I'm not sure how accurate that list is, but um, players like Max Murphy are apparently signed for next year. I know that's probably a been a bit disappointing for some people. But again, I'm not sure if Max Murphy um, is obviously we know from last season that he has had a few bad games, and he scored ridiculous on goals against Rovers, and I think he scored one against Derry as well. Um, yeah, is he being used as a bit of a punching bag? I'm not so sure. Again, I don't think he's a player that you can fault his effort. I've never really watched him and thought he's been lazy. It's just maybe is he up for this level? I'm not so sure. Maybe just a bit of inexperience. He was never really a first team player at Rovers, or even he was mostly on the bench and not even really getting on. So again, I think time will tell for Max Murphy. Who knows? Maybe next season we'll see a different player. Again, I think we've been linked with not Afalabi, sorry, Awalabi from St. Pat's again. We've continuously linked with him nearly every transfer window. I think we wanted to sign him before he went to Pats, and I think we were waiting for him in the summer as well. Again, he seems to be a player that's just isn't really getting a lot of game time with Pats. I won't mind him. I think there's not a lot of attacking options on that list. Varian and Junior and Twardick, Afalabi. I think they're players that could play a key part next year. I'd be expecting better from O'Sullivan. Afalabi obviously was injured back end of last season, and he was a player that I think in the early stages showed some promise. So hopefully, he can get fully fit and fire next year. Um, but yeah, not an awful lot of rumours going around. I'm sure we'll see a few more over the next few weeks. But again, I'm happy with the signs we've made so far. It's good to see that we're doing business early. I think the players that have left the club have probably left the club at the right time. Players like Connor Livingston and Tyreek Wilson, players that maybe we're not going to be a part of Declan Devine's plans for next season. So, yeah, that's where I'm going to end it. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment below what you've been thinking of the signing so far, what your thoughts on the players that have left the club, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.